Welcome back to the NPC Energy Podcast.
Great to be here.
Ever get that really weird feeling, like you're stuck, maybe replaying the same conversation or just caught in some kind of loop?
Oh, yeah, that uncanny valley sort of feeling.
Exactly. And that feeling, that's kind of what kicks off our simulated journey today. We're looking into simulation theory.
Uh-huh. The big idea that maybe, just maybe, our whole reality is, well, artificial. A construct.
It's seriously mind-bending stuff. The thought that everything we see, everything we touch, space, time, it could all just be happening inside some incredibly advanced computer.
It really forces you to question the fundamentals, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And we're going to explore it today, but maybe through some unexpected lenses. Think Barbie?
Barbie. Okay.
Yeah, Barbie, but also Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
And even those Andrew Tate edits you see everywhere online.
Wow. Okay. That's quite a mix. Barbie, Oppenheimer, Tate. How do they connect to simulation theory?
That's what we're exploring. We'll also lean heavily on Nick Boscombe's big 2003 paper. It's super influential and actually makes a pretty compelling argument for why we might, statistically speaking, be in a simulation already.
Boston's simulation argument. Yeah, that's foundational. He lays out that trilemma, which is quite powerful.
Right, the trilemma. Let's unpack that a bit. What are the three core ideas he puts out there?
Okay, so the first part of the trilemma suggests that civilizations like ours, or maybe a bit more advanced, they almost always wipe themselves out.
Wipe themselves out before they can build these simulations.
Exactly. Before they reach the stage where they could create what Bostrom calls ancestor simulations, these super detailed simulations of their past. Think of it like a great filter. Maybe climate change, war, pandemics. Something stops them.
So possibility one, advanced civilizations just don't make it that far. It's a bit grim. Makes you think about our own trajectory, right?
It does. Okay, so the second possibility, maybe they do get super advanced, become post-human, but they just lose interest.
Lose interest in running simulations of the past of us.
Yeah. Maybe they have ethical reasons not to. Or maybe simulating ancient history just seems boring compared to, I don't know, exploring other dimensions or creating entirely new types of reality. They might just not care about their ancestors.
Huh. But we might just be too uninteresting for our potential descendants to bother simulating. That's humbling, actually.
It is, isn't it?
Okay, so what's the third option? This is the one that usually gets people right.
This is the kicker. The third possibility is that we are almost certainly living in a simulation right now.
And the logic there is basically statistics.
Pretty much. If even a few civilizations get past the filter and decide to run ancestor simulations, they could likely create billions, trillions, maybe orders of magnitude more simulated minds than there ever were original biological minds in the base reality.
So if you just pick a conscious mind at random like yours or mine or anyone listening.
The odds are overwhelmingly likely that you'd pick a simulated one simply because there would be vastly more of them.
Wow, okay. And Bostrom grounds us in a couple of key ideas, doesn't he? Like substrate independence.
Exactly. Substrate independence is crucial. It's the idea that consciousness, subjective experience, isn't necessarily tied to squishy biological brains like ours.
Like software that can run on different hardware.
Precisely. If consciousness can run on silicon or whatever future tech exists, then simulated minds could be just as real as ours.
And the other pillar is just immense computing power in the future.
Right. Future civilizations might have computing resources we can barely even imagine, enough to simulate entire universes in high fidelity.
And maybe they even optimize it. I've heard that idea that maybe the simulation only renders what's being actively observed.
Yeah, that's a fascinating, almost game-like concept. Like the tree falling in the forest only makes a sound or even exists in detail if someone or something is there to perceive it. Saves processing power.
Slightly creepy thought. Okay, so we start thinking we're in a simulation. Bostrom mentions this weird potential consequence, right?
He does. It's this idea that, well, if we figure it out, or even strongly suspect it, should we try to be? Interesting.
Interesting. To who? The simulators. So they don't, pull the plug?
Sort of, yeah. If the simulation gets boring, predictable, maybe resource intensive, without generating interesting data, why keep it running?
So maybe that explains, the absolute chaos of the internet, all the viral trends, the constant drama, the memes. Is that just us subconsciously trying to keep the cosmic audience entertained?
It's a wild thought, isn't it?
Right.
But you could, through that lens, interpret this relentless drive for novelty and attention as a kind of collective survival instinct within the simulation. Keep things spicy so the simulation doesn't get shut down.
Gives a whole new meaning to reality TV. Okay, let's shift from the theory to well, Barbie.
Barbie, right? How does she fit into this simulated reality picture?
Well, think about Barbieland itself. It's this perfectly constructed world, right? Everything's pink, every day is great, everyone has a role. It's almost programmed.
It definitely has the feel of a simulation running on very specific, maybe slightly simplistic parameters. A utopia, but a very controlled one.
Exactly. Until Barbie starts experiencing, well, glitches.
Glitches.
Like thoughts of death, flat feet, things that just don't happen in perfect Barbieland.
Yeah.
They're errors in the code.
Okay, I see that. These anomalies disrupting the perfect program, and her journey to the real world is then, what? Trying to debug herself. Or understand the simulation.
Maybe both. It raises that question, like, are these glitches just random bugs? Or is it the simulation itself developing unexpected complexity, emergent behavior?
That's a deep question. And then there's Ken.
Oh, Ken. He's almost the definition of an NPC, a non-player character, isn't he?
He really is, initially. His whole existence revolves around Barbie noticing him. He exists at beach. That's his function.
Totally programmed. He doesn't have his own real drive until he goes to the real world and gets this flawed idea about patriarchy.
Right, and then he tries to install that update back in Barbieland.
And it's a disaster. It's like trying to run incompatible software. It just crashes the system because it's another rigid program forced onto a different one.
It really shows the flaws in any overly rigid system, simulated or not. Whether it's Barbieland's matriarchy or Ken's attempt at patriarchy, these simple top-down programs don't allow for real complexity or individual freedom. They're inherently brittle.
Yeah, you need nuance, you need freedom. Okay, let's swing the pendulum completely from bright pink Barbieland to the much heavier world of Oppenheimer.
A very different tone, yes. How does the story of the atomic bomb connect here?
Well, think about Oppenheimer himself. He's presented almost like Prometheus, right? The creator who unleashes this immense power.
And then loses control of it, sees it used in ways he didn't intend, with consequences he can't manage.
Exactly. That theme of the creator losing control of the creation resonates with simulation ideas, doesn't it? Like a programmer watching their code spiral out of control.
It does. In that scene, the Trinity test, the fear that it might ignite the atmosphere.
Terrifying. It felt like they were right on the edge of, I don't know, crashing the physics engine of the simulation itself.
That's a powerful metaphor, pushing the simulation's fundamental rules to the absolute breaking point, the ultimate system crash.
And afterwards, Oppenheimer is just haunted. He's trapped by the consequences, by the political systems that take over his creation. He loses control over his own life in many ways.
That definitely mirrors the idea of a potentially self-aware sim, realizing they're trapped within the system's rules, unable to change the fundamental parameters, or even the programmer feeling helpless as their simulation unfolds in unforeseen, maybe tragic ways.
The film also pushes this idea of technological determinism. Like the bomb was almost inevitable. History was heading that way regardless of the specific people involved.
Which, in a simulation framework, raises the question. Are major technological leaps prescripted? Are they key plot points programmed into the simulation's timeline?
So maybe Oppenheimer's genius, his choices, his guilt, it's all part of the script unfolding within the simulation's code.
It adds another layer to the tragedy, doesn't it? This brilliant mind caught in the gears of a vast, perhaps predetermined machine. It really makes you question free will versus programmed destiny within such a context.
Definitely. Okay, one more pivot. Let's talk about Andrew Tate and his whole Matrix thing online.
Ah, yes, escaping the Matrix. He uses that metaphor constantly.
He does.
Yeah.
But his version of the Matrix is, well, it's basically society, right? Government, schools, media, things he sees as controlling people.
Right. And escaping means rejecting all that and essentially adopting his ideology, his way of life.
But here's the irony. When you look at his content, the endless short clips, the repeated phrases, the same cars, the same messages.
It feels very repetitive, programmed almost.
Exactly. It's kind of ironic that the content designed to help you escape the controlling matrix feels like its own form of relentless, repetitive programming.
Yeah.
Does it kind of mirror the thing it's fighting?
That's a really sharp observation. The medium and the repetition might inadvertently mimic the very indoctrination tactics he criticizes in the system.
Plus, his interpretation of the Matrix movie. It kind of misses the point, doesn't it? The original film had strong anti-capitalist vibes. People read it as a trans allegory. Tate's version seems very different.
It definitely strips away those layers. It co-opts the powerful, red pill, blue pill imagery, but attaches it to a very specific and arguably quite different ideology than the filmmakers might have intended. It becomes more of a tribal signifier online.
Yeah, like taking the red pill just means you agree with him. So is escaping Tate's matrices really freedom? Or is it just entering a different simulated reality, one built by him?
That's the critical question. Are his followers breaking free, or are they just swapping one set of perceived constraints for another, possibly even more restrictive reality tunnel built on his specific beliefs and reinforced by his online community?
A simulation built not on silicon, maybe, but on ideology, belief, and constant social reinforcement within that group. It dictates how you should see the world.
Exactly. It functions like a simulation by providing a comprehensive alternative narrative, defining enemies, offering solutions, and potentially limiting exposure to conflicting ideas. It simulates a reality for its believers.
It's fascinating how these three things, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Tate, Mullivan, they seem so different on the surface, but they all end up circling these same questions about reality, control, programming, agency.
It really is remarkable. Barbie breaking out, Oppenheimer tracked by his creation, Tate offering an escape from a system. They're all grappling with feeling constrained by external structures or programming.
And the whole Barbenheimer thing this summer, where everyone saw both movies, that almost felt like a glitch itself, didn't it?
Yeah.
Forcing this mass engagement with such wildly different ideas simultaneously.
It certainly broke the usual pattern, sparked a lot of unexpected conversations.
And you do see it more online now, right? People talking about NPC behavior. We're seeing glitches in the Matrix. Is that just Bader Meinhof? We're talking about it, so we see it everywhere.
It could be partly that, sure. Or maybe. Maybe the world is getting weirder, more complex, more algorithmic, and the simulation metaphor just feels increasingly apt. A useful way to process the absurdity sometimes.
It really brings you back to that core question. Are we the main character? Or are we just background code? A player or an NPC?
Maybe just asking the question, just noticing the patterns, the potential programming. Maybe that's the first step towards having more agency, like debugging your own life.
I like that. Debugging our lives.
Yeah.
Because all these stories, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Tate, they tap into this really deep modern anxiety, don't they?
Yeah.
About what's real, who's in control, are we authentic?
Absolutely. Barbie offers a path to breaking free. Oppenheimer shows the terrifying responsibility and danger of creation. Tate speaks to that feeling of being manipulated. Simulation theory kind of gives us a language, a framework to even talk about these anxieties.
So maybe the takeaway is to pay more attention to those moments, those times you feel like you're just running a script, that feeling of peak NPC energy, as the podcast name suggests.
Yeah, noticing those glitches, those moments that feel off. Maybe that questioning, that awareness is how we introduce a little bit of our own code, a little randomness into the system.
It's about engaging more critically, isn't it? Questioning the structures, the narratives that shape how we see things.
Definitely. A more active stance towards our perceived reality.
So as we wrap up this particular simulated journey, maybe think about those NPC moments in your own life. Ever feel like a cog? Perhaps just asking why is the start of becoming something more.
It encourages that constant examination. What forces are shaping my experience right now?
Okay, well, until next time we explore the weird edges of reality. Keep questioning, stay aware, and welcome the glitches.